How can I go and tell my dad about my period? Like, what does my what's my father's business in my period?
It reminds us how the stigma about period, especially from the men's perspective,
Okay.
the stigma that period is dirty and all.
Oh,
Okay, that comes to my mind first of all.
yeah.
That period is that, period is this, period is dirty, period is the woman become unnecessarily, what's the word I should
Touchy or
touchy or clingy or demand for things unnecessary during their periods.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and of course I'm your girl Ngozi Ibe, and this is Health Situations. So on today's episode we're going to talk about women's health, and our focus on women's health is menstrual period. So should women freely talk about their menstrual period with men? Yes, should they? And should men also know about women's menstrual period? Is it necessary for men to know about women's period? Basically, I'm a late bloomer, so I started my period when I was way over 15. So on my first period day, I ran to my mom and I told her, Mom, how far it has started, it has come, like something we've been expecting for a while now. In fact, it felt like every other person had seen theirs. I was like the last person. So and she just gave me this, oh wow, okay, go and meet your dad. And I was like, what? Who does that? How can I go and tell my dad about my period? Like, what does my what's my father's business in my period? It felt so awkward because growing up I know how women want to hide our period, want to hide our sanitary pads. Yeah, it should be hidden and all that, but it looked like it's a hidden secret, the women's hidden secret, you know. So she was adamant, and like she had made up her mind. So I was like, no, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to wait and see the worst that will happen. So, but I could not wait for so long because, of course, it's my first time and I was anxious. So I succumbed. I had to go tell my dad. Like when I told him, at first it was awkward, but eventually it made me to see this soft part of my father, and it felt so good. It felt so good to know that I am loved, I am protected, I am provided for. That was like what brought down the whole awkwardness. I felt like, oh, okay, he understands. And then he showed me empathy. He gave me money, say, what do you need? He was there to provide what I needed. So this was a whole lot different from how I expected it to be. At first, when she said, go and meet your dad, it felt well. But eventually, over the years, like I am balling with it. So it came down to my kid sister, and the same thing, the same process happened. And my mom was like, go and meet your dad. And she just busted out. Unlike me, she busted out. She's like, why? How? I had to call her aside and say, baby girl, you have to take this to your advantage. See, that is going to do this, so this is how it's going to do. And then she saw my point of view and then she followed suit. So this is just my personal experience. I know some of you have also different stories, like, yeah, different experiences of how you maybe shared with the opposite sex, or how their reaction was, or how it turned out to be. Many people have had messy experiences of how our own menstrual story, or how our menstrual situation has gone. So hang in there while we invite this male presence to tell us how these men process it when we tell them we're on our period, or what they see, or how they read what we are saying, like what What comes to their mind when we tell them of our period? So this is Tion Joseph.
Unfortunately, yes.
Welcome to Health
Thank you
Situations.
very much.
So Tion, tell us. So what comes to mind when a lady says, "I'm on my period"? Like I'm on my period, I can't deliver at work or something.
Wow. Okay. Two responses come to my mind. One, the natural response. Two, the partnership response. Natural response in the sense that it reminds us how the stigma about period, especially from the men's perspective, the stigma that period is dirty and all.
Oh,
Okay, that comes to my mind first of all. Second, the partnership perspective. How do I partner with her to make it easy? Because I feel during this period, they have some certain cravings, they have pains, and they need certain things. Some ladies ahead like chocolate during their period, some like tea, some those. So trying to partner with them to help alleviate their situation is the second response that comes to mind.
okay. So do you think it's important for men to be aware about women's
Very
health?
much, very much. You see, I talked about my first response,
Yeah.
talking about stigma. Stigma exists where there's no much education about a certain thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so men knowing this kind of helps reduces the stigma.
Yeah.
That period is that, period is this, period is dirty, period is, the woman become unnecessarily, what's the word? Touchy or clingy or demand for things unnecessary during their periods. It happens also during their pregnancy. So when I'm here period, I kind of look at it, I think of it to be pregnancy period at the same time because they behave almost like pregnancy comes with certain pains, comes with certain urges, certain demands, just like period. So for me, when I hear period, it's like the opposite, it's synonymous to pregnancy. So we knowing about it kind of helps us to prepare either for our colleagues or for our women in the house, how we can partner with them to reduce.
When you say partner, are you talking about like empathy, like how to show
Yes.
it?
So during period, as long as I know, women kind of have certain needs. Yes. Is it for more care like pads, or is it for food? Need more chocolate, something out of the usual norm that they normally take. So partnering with them could be helping provide some of these things for them to make the period phase an easy one for them.
So based on just what Tion says, like first is he said
There's a stigma around it.
stigma around it, and then number two he said like partnership.
Yes.
So first off, there shouldn't be a stigma around period because it's a natural thing that happens to the woman's body. This is when a woman is losing her eggs, shedding her eggs, and it comes with hormonal changes, it comes with cravings, it comes with pains. Some different folks for different strokes for different folks. So many people have different ways or different situations theirs come. Some do not have pain while others have pain. So there shouldn't be any stigma, like any dearth or anything. Okay, just like he said, stigma. In those days, formerly, when a woman is on her period, like in the Bible, they used to take her away. She's not supposed to touch anything, or she's going to, condemn it, or she's going to, something like that. So, but it shouldn't be that way. Like there's no stigma. It's just a natural occurrence to her body. It's just a natural thing. It's just a natural thing that happens to her body. So there shouldn't be any negative stigma.
That's right.
Instead, just like you said, for the number two, partnership. This is a time where okay, she has to be shown empathy. Okay, do you think you can still do this job while you're at it? Are you okay doing some certain things? Okay, if you're not okay, maybe you could go home. Maybe you could excuse yourself and go and take care of yourself. Do you need painkiller? Those are just the empathy that should be shown when he talks about kindness. So just like it is, there shouldn't be any stigma. That's why men should be aware. Men should be aware about women's health. They should be aware about menstrual period. So there's no negativity attached to it. It's just a natural occurrence to a woman's body. So I guess that is that.
Well, at the end, I'm glad I'm a man.
So he said he's glad he's a man. So these are the things that we like to discuss. These are the things that we like to talk about when it comes to period, when it comes to women's health. So do let us know how you also think, like how do men, like what comes to mind? There are many things that comes to mind when men talk about or hear about period. Thank you for staying on today's show. Do well to stay with us until next time. Bye.
Bye.